For decades, The Tonight Show routinely brought exotic animals onto its set, operating under the assumption that the resulting chaos could be kept within the bounds of controlled entertainment. This expectation held until rare, unscripted moments unfolded, such as when sharks unexpectedly lunged at host Johnny Carson. "Hey, would you hold this for a second?" became a famous cue for laughter, yet these incidents stand among the most shocking animal moments in the show's history. On one occasion, young tigers so unnerved Carson that the episode earned one of its highest ratings, as it was far from typical for handlers to bring anything as wild as a big cat onto the stage. In another segment, a parrot completely hijacked Johnny's interview. After being prompted with "Say hi, say hi, hi, good, okay," the bird's antics escalated. When Carson asked, "Can you say that a little softer?" the parrot replied, "Oh, now we're talking, now we're talking." Johnny then framed the whole exchange around the idea of a vocal warm-up. Like all good singers do before they sing, well, sometimes they like to warm up. "Can you warm up for us?" the bird responded with a piercing scream. This entire segment was built around the parrot commandeering the conversation, giving it a far sharper identity than a simple talking bird appearance. Another unforgettable moment involved a leopard shark. As Johnny noted, leopard sharks are very common in San Francisco. "And sharks, well, you have heard of the Rock," he said with a snort. "Get off the rock because of sharks. You have heard of tiburon, so called because of this kind of shark. And there are probably more sharks in San Francisco Bay than any other kind of fish." When asked if it was a dangerous species, the reply came, "Sure, you want to deal with a businessman." "No." The guest then announced, "I brought with me some slides and film to tell you about some research that I have been doing. Hey, would you hold this for a second?" Immediately, the shark went right for Ed McMahon. "Shark knows where a meal is," Johnny joked. "Just when you thought it was safe to do The Tonight Show, right?" Even before anything went wrong, the presence of a leopard shark was unusual enough to make the conversation interesting. Then came the wild turkey vulture, which went completely berserk. Instructions were given. "What I would like to do, if you will stand here. Do not move. No. If you will come over here and stand beside the desk. Take the small piece of meat. Hide the rest of the meat. Ed, you want to sit on that?" Amid laughter and applause, the handler explained, "There's one thing you have got to do though. You have got to hold that in front of you. Wait a minute. Now, look. You have got to hold it higher, higher than your head. That is right. Very good." Of all the exotic wild animals Jim Fowler brought onto the Tonight Show stage, longtime viewers say this particular creature takes the cake. In another bizarre sequence, a baboon wearing a red diaper climbed onto Johnny's desk. The animal, noted the guest, in the world is actually worshipped. "That is all right. Come here. Come on, boy. That is all right." He is worshipped as an ancestor to human beings. When the baboon grabbed something, Johnny exclaimed, "Hey, give me that." The audience cheered. Carson then asked, "How long have you had him under control, Jim?" The reply, "No wonder. I wonder what he is doing. Just a little hand gesture. He is perfectly relaxed there. I meant to have that. Try to take that away from him. Just say you are going to take it away from him." Johnny played along. "I would like the banana. Just tell him you want the banana." "I want the banana." "Okay. I do not want it." "No. Give me the banana. Give it here. Give it here. Come on. Give me the banana." Laughter erupted. The baboon, named Doc, brought a rough, disruptive energy, and the addition of a red diaper made the whole scenario even stranger. The second it reached Johnny's desk, the show's normal boundaries vanished, creating chaos that nobody anticipated or knew how to handle. Baby Jim the gorilla made a return appearance. "He has been playing with all the toys we put in there for you," said the guest. Johnny asked, "Has he been on the show before?" The reply, "He has. This is Baby Jim, who is now 14 months old and part of our gorilla breeding program at the Wild Animal Park." "Hi, Jim." "Hi." Carson recalled, "I remember once on the show. Is that the one I was sitting with at the desk? He was about 3 months old. Can we show the slide? Somebody said we had a slide of when he was on the show. There he is. That is when he was 3 months old. Remember that show? That is when he was just a little toddler. Now, look at him. I could not do that now, could I? Well, hi, Jim. The handler noted. No, he has been biting a lot tonight. This return was special because there was already a relationship and memory attached to the animal, as Baby Jim had appeared twice before, making the segment feel more specific than a first-time novelty act. Johnny recalled years later, baby gorillas work especially well because they seemed sweet and slightly overpowering at the same time. During Sharon Johansson's segment with sheepdogs, Johnny asked, "How are you, Sharon? Are they not great dogs?" "That is a beautiful pair of dogs. Those really are." "What kind of doggies are those?" Laughter followed. Sheepdogs brought discipline and motion rather than mere shock value. A good sheepdog act felt impressive, while still leaving room for little bits of disorder on a talk show stage. In the camel circus segment, a helper asked, "Oh, can I help you?" The reply, "Yeah, you might offer Winston a bottle. There, Winston. Tilt it up so he can get the milk." After applause, the host said, "All right. This is a tiger. A gibbon, a cheetah, and a camel do not belong in the same mental picture," which is exactly why the segment sounded memorable. Making that kind of mismatch was great for Carson and his show. The porcupine and badger dual appearance proved equally striking. "Very hard to tell," Johnny said with laughter. "Well, when you are that ugly, it does not make any difference. These are you a male or a female? Who cares? I love you. These are nocturnal. They live in burrows. They breed at night. And there is my coffee cup. They breed underground too. It is a different thing altogether. Well, you would not want to see them in the daylight." The handler added, "Now listen. He is very powerful. One of the worst times, most dangerous situations I have ever been in was when I was chasing an aardvark one night and trying to catch him." Johnny deadpanned, "Were you lonely, Jim, or what?" The trio of porcupine, badger, and cheetah felt more volatile than cute, each bringing a very different kind of discomfort to the set, giving the segment a sharper edge than the softer animal visits that many remember from the show's long history. "It gets lonely in the jungle, folks," Johnny quipped. "Well, it was pretty late at night, but we all have our little hang. We did not catch it. We ran into a group of lions instead. But these are like bulldozers, and they actually disappear in the ground faster than you can pull them out." The handler added, "Feel the strength they have. Let us walk over to the sandbox over here." When asked if the animal would be named, the reply came, "This one I think is called after the zoo he was born in, Mr. Tacoma." Johnny joked, "Well, I do not want to see the runner-up if this is the winner." Typically, Carson got good material when the audience could feel that none of these creatures belonged anywhere near the desk and couch arrangement that defined late-night television's normal boundaries. The baby nilgai antelope with ostriches was another memorable pairing. "And they are nilgai. They are the largest antelope from India," the guest explained. Laughter followed. "That is the next animal. That is the yak there. That is the yak grunting." Johnny admitted, "I have never heard of them before. They are really beautiful animals. Anybody ever heard of a nilgai? This one is hungry, so it is trying to nurse off my finger." He asked, "What do you normally? These are antelope, right?" The handler confirmed they will get quite large. They will be over 300 pounds when fully grown, and the male and female are very different colors. They are also known as a blue bull because the male gets quite blue. When the antelope became restless, Johnny asked, "What is wrong with? Are they hungry or what?" The reply, "This one is trying to nurse. They have been fed." The animal mix was odd in a very Carson way. A baby nilgai gave the segment a gentle, unfamiliar quality where the audience was still figuring out what they were looking at, while the ostriches changed the tone completely by introducing unpredictable movement that made everything feel unstable. In the segment Hoodle Loves Carson, it was explained that only dogs can run. You cannot run sheep. He thought it was a sheep, the guest said. They have not seen poodles before. They have only seen huskies. Asked why he decided to use poodles, the owner replied, "Well, I wanted to give the breed its chance. And the most effective way was to run poodles, which they said would never complete the race, not this century or in the next. So the most effective way to break the name that is placed on the poodle is to do something like mushing as sled dogs." Johnny joked, "You want to give him a macho image, huh?" "Yeah, Give every underdog its day. This was a great last pick because the premise was funny before the clip even started. Poodles and the Iditarod do not belong together in most people's minds, which is exactly why the segment had such a strong hook that immediately grabbed attention. Carson's material worked best when the audience could feel the absurdity instantly, and this concept delivered that in one simple phrase, making it memorable long after the episode aired. The comedy came from the clash between the poodle's elegant, groomed image and the brutal wilderness event. Johnny naturally had endless material to work with because the contrast wrote itself without requiring much setup. The poodles looked absurd in their mushing harnesses, which were designed for stocky, thick-furred huskies built specifically for Arctic endurance racing. The owner had to explain repeatedly that poodles are actually athletic, capable dogs despite their fancy reputation. When asked, and you have to train them, are the huskies not specially trained though to pull sleds? He answered, absolutely. Huskies are born and bred to do this for centuries, and now they are getting into the super dog area. But they have a little computer chip in their brain that says go. So there is not all that much training to do with a husky. But any non-Arctic northern breed, a dog that is not a husky-type dog, that dog must be educated and must be taught to run. Johnny then asked, so how do you educate them to the cold? I mean, the huskies I understand. But do they not freeze their little paws off? Laughter followed. Johnny made jokes about the poodles demanding heated rest stops or refusing to continue without proper grooming facilities. The segment included photographs or video footage of the actual race, showing perfectly groomed poodles running through snow and ice. The audience struggled to reconcile the image of prissy show dogs with the brutal 1,000-mile race conditions known for taking out unprepared teams. Carson asked whether the poodles required special protective gear beyond what traditional sled dogs use. The owner defended the breed's athletic capabilities while acknowledging how ridiculous the whole premise sounded to skeptics, as the poodles brought to the studio looked nothing like working sled dogs, creating immediate visual humor. Johnny referenced famous Iditarod champions, highlighting the absurd difference between Malamutes and standard poodles in build and temperament. The segment generated controversy among both poodle enthusiasts, who felt misunderstood, and race purists, who considered it disrespectful. Ed McMahon contributed jokes about pampered dogs demanding room service after each leg of the race, as the story raised legitimate questions about why someone would attempt this brutal challenge with a breed never designed for it. Carson asked how veteran mushers reacted to seeing perfectly coiffed poodles at the official starting line in Alaska. The poodles demonstrated some obedient skills on set, though nothing remotely resembling actual sled pulling. The segment became legendary precisely because it challenged fundamental assumptions about both the elegant poodle breed and the notoriously difficult Iditarod simultaneously, creating cognitive dissonance that made it unforgettable. The Tonight Show's most shocking animal moments came not from perfectly controlled demonstrations, but from the beautiful chaos that erupted when wild creatures refused to follow the script, reminding viewers that no amount of television professionalism could fully tame nature's unpredictability. Johnny Carson's genius was rolling with these disasters rather than trying to stop them, showing that sometimes the greatest television happens when animals entirely ignore what they are supposed to do, which was shocking and crazy. Tonight's show animal moment, which do you think was the wildest? Tell everyone in the comments down below. And please do not forget to subscribe to see more classic Johnny Carson animal moments.